Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Friday, May 13th, 2022, and tomorrow in Quebec, their mask mandate will officially end. May 14th, 2022 was Saturday, and the 666th day of the mandate. Yes, 666 again. If you're new here, we've been documenting all the 666s with the pandemic. Of course, the first was Clade X, the pandemic simulation, May 15th, 2018, exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared March 11th, 2020, and also 2 years to the day of Operation Warp Speed to rush out the vaccines that are now found worldwide. And, of course, that May 15th date's not arbitrary. That's the day to celebrate Mercury, that interesting ingredient in oh so many vaccines. But yes, it is 666 again, and we've been asking, is it an accident that the word mask and the word mark are just one letter off from each other? M-A-S-K, M-A-R-K. The mark is 666 in the Bible, which you must have if you want to buy or sell, and as we know, a lot of places required masks and eventually vaccines if you wanted to buy or sell, or be in the building or at the store, or on the bus, or train, or plane. But here, just to confirm that this is all true, the mask mandate went into effect July 18th, 2020, and it ended May 14th. That's tomorrow. It will end at May 14th, 2022. And from July 18th, 2020 to May 14th, 2022 is a total of 666 days. And Omicron was the last major 666 ritual. From the World Health Organization declaring a public emergency for COVID. That was before they declared the pandemic on March 11th. It was January 30th, 2020. The World Health Organization declared a global emergency. And then 666 days later, the Omicron news came. The UK, their first case of COVID was January 31st, and their first case of Omicron was 666 days after their first case of the original COVID. But again, 666, it's been this number all throughout the pandemic, and of course it's a biblical number, and there's biblical themes all over the place. Revelation is full of plague and wars and famine, and again, what's going on at this day and age? We got the virus like plague, right? We have our world leaders telling us that there's going to be food shortages, so famine, and there's rumors of war all over the place. And what else is interesting about the day that Quebec ends their mandate is it's also Israel's 74th birthday. And, of course, Event 201, the other pandemic simulation put on by the same people who did Clade X, that happened the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China, 1 month before the outbreak. That was October 18th, 2019, the day leaving 74 days left in the year. But this comes on Israel's 74th birthday, the end of this mask mandate. And Gematria. This is where understanding Gematria, you get to see how these larger rituals come together and how they truly are biblical in nature. And again, just to make the point, we'll bring this all together. But the mask mandate ends on 14/5. And right now, who's in charge of Canada? The good Catholic, the Jesuit Justin Trudeau. And again, 14/5, like the word Catholic equals 145, like how there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than the Protestant Old Testament. And the day it began was July 18th, 18/7, like 187, and Society of Jesus is 187. And again, these numbers are used ritualistically by the Jesuits, who are the Society of Jesus, who serve the Catholic Church, who have leadership all over the world, whose presence is all over the world. The world's going by their time, the way they tell time with the Gregorian calendar. And again, English, the language of the world, is credited to the Catholic monk Burford of Ramsey Abbey of about 1000 AD. And again, this practice of coding numbers into words, so many people just dismiss it at once as crazy when, how can you dismiss history as crazy? This is something that's been with the world for thousands of years. It's clearly part of the English language, just as it was part of the Greek language, just as it was part of the Hebrew language. But again, you learn this code and you just look at history, and it's not hard to see what's going on. So for people who are new here, I want you to see why it's so interesting how this ritual, the last country or the last territory in North America to end the mask mandate is Ontario. And North America's the New World. And so is South America, the Americas. But notice, on Israel's birthday, this is why this gets so interesting. Again, Event 201 was put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. And that was the follow-up to Clade X right before the pandemic was declared. And they called it Event 201. And notice when I read out the Holy Bible, it has gematria of 201. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, the Holy Bible is 201. In that same cipher, the Jesuit order is 201. Again, a Jesuit put on Event 201, the follow-up to Clade X, right before the pandemic was declared. And what day did they declare the pandemic? March 11th. In the U.S., we write it 3/11. The number 201 is the number 311 in base 8 counting. You see how the Jesuit order is 177? For the record, Klaus Schwab, the main Jesuit who hosted Event 201, his name is 177. And the main co-sponsor was Bill Gates, whose full name is William Henry Gates, which is 201. And in reverse, his name's 258, like how his dad died on the 258th day of the year in the year of the pandemic, and like how he declared his vaccine alliance on his 258th day of his age. And again, the phrase number of the beast with regards to the 666 thing also fits in there, and we'll come back to that. But just following the 201s. Remember, we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope. The first Jesuit Pope, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, his name equals 201. The first Pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, known as the Domus Sanctae Martyr, which is also 201. And the founder of the Jesuits is Ignatius of Loyola, 201. So the other 201 piece in history is that the last French Pope was the 201st. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope, and the Jesuits are originally from France. And also Catherine the Great, who preserved the Jesuit order as the leader of Russia, she saved the order with 201 Jesuits. And don't forget the leader of Russia and Joe Biden, who lost his son, wife, and daughter all in 201 rituals, and who had a Jesuit priest with a 201 name, whose name was Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, do the funerals, who used to be the head of Georgetown. Hold on, I got off my list on the 201s. Again, Biden and Putin, they met 201 days after the Ignatian year began, reportedly for 2 hours and 1 minute, like 2:01. And then, the whole military thing kicked off in Ukraine, part of this New World Order agenda, Donbass region 201. And with regards to the New World Order agenda, notice how New World Order, it doesn't have the 201, it's got the 177, but also like the Jesuit order. Again, forwards and backwards. Captain Tom dead 201 days after being knighted on 17/7. Catherine the Great's husband died on 17/7. She becomes the leader that preserves the order with 201 Jesuits. But again, just the New World Order, ongoing agendas, putting the same numbers on it over and over. State of Israel equals 201. And no state has gotten it worse in the world with the mandatory vaccines. They've had to have 4. They're the only place in the world that's had to have 4 vaccines, the state of Israel. And don't forget David Ben-Gurion, whose name doesn't equal 201. It equals 145, like 14/5, like Catholic 145. The Jesuits served the Catholic Church. The Jesuits are Catholic and Jewish because of the Protestant Reformation. But again, David Ben-Gurion declared Israel a nation on 14/5, the 14th day of the 5th month, and then he went on to die in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. And again, State of Israel, 201. The day it was established in history, its 50th birthday, that was the day this guy had his last big show on TV, Jerry Seinfeld. And of course, Catherine Cates this year died from the Seinfeld show 201 days after the anniversary of the first episode. But anyway, the point is, you learn their little code and you see it's definitely them. They're the ones forcing the biblical themes. They're the one making prophecy play out. And doesn't it make sense? They're the ones that have always been after controlling the minds of the masses for the sake of their own power and wealth and gain. And you start to look at who's behind a lot of these companies that are profiting. Well, what do you know? It's those damn Jesuits. And by the way, Justin Trudeau, who's a Jesuit, who has the most appropriate birthday, Christmas, which is the pagan solar birthday. And of course, the Catholic Church started out as a sun cult. The vaccine went live in America the day of the total solar eclipse in the Pope's native country, Argentina. And again, a corona, it refers to the light that hardly shows around the ridge of the sun during the time of a total eclipse. But notice this. From Justin Trudeau's birthday to the day that the mandate began for the mask was 206 days. And look at Quebec, Ontario, 206. And this is something being done to human beings. Do you know where 206 connects to human beings? That's how many bones are in a human body. And what's amazing is the phrase, the body is the temple, Masonic temple equals 206. Again, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. But Trudeau, the Jesuit with the most appropriate birthday, Christmas, the solar man's birthday. Again, just again and again, all the rituals. Just like how when they had the crackdown on the truckers, we had the date pinpointed to expect for that, and that's exactly what happened. Another clear Jesuit ritual. 56 days from Trudeau's birthday, like Society of Jesus, like coronavirus, like COVID vaccine, like whatever they called it. Was it the Freedom Convoy or whatever the name of it was 56. But in terms of the day it ends, May 14th, 2022, I couldn't help but notice that's 20 weeks and 1 day into Justin Trudeau's age. So, it's not the cleanest 201, but it is there. And it's mostly about the 666 thing. And again, with regards to it being Israel's 74th birthday, we're talking about the Society of Jesus. Again, it only takes one cipher to make the point. Event 201 was on the day, leaving 74 days left in the year. Like Jesus is 74, like Jewish is 74. He comes from the land of Judea. Gematria is a Jewish practice. Gematria is 74, so is English, so is energy, so is occult, so is Masonic. Coming back to Jesus, 74, so is cross, so is Messiah, so is gospel, so is parables. Did I get them all? Yeah, I think so. Special number. Here in the U.S., our birthday is 7-4, holidays 74. So, interestingly enough, Lucifer is also 74. R.I.P. to Randy Weaver, dead at 74. Randy Weaver, the story was that the feds killed his family, and their crime was they were trying to live off the grid in anticipation of, the book of Revelation to play out. And then Randy Weaver just died at age 74 the other day. And just again, so you guys can understand how relevant the ciphers are. Randy Weaver, Ruby Ridge, Waco, Oklahoma City, September 11th. If you haven't read my book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, it all comes together. But yeah, this Randy Weaver thing, for people who don't know, it needs to be out there. Again, Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. His full name, Randall Claude Weaver, 74-115, dead at 74 on 11/5 or 115. Pattern we've seen many a times before. And again, it kind of fits in. Just all the revelation encoding. And keep in mind, again, Cladex was May 15th. The date can be written 15/5. The first coronavirus pandemic simulation, 666 days before the pandemic. Coronavirus and Christianity, both 155. Plus, it's Mercury Day. And again, Rambo's done the work on the parallels with Mercury and Jesus in terms of the astrological symbolism. So that's another angle. But Cladex, just to go back to it in case you don't know. Again, it took place May 15th, 2018. Look it up. Put on by the Johns Hopkins Center, which was founded by Daniel Coit Gilman of Yale Skull and Bones, which is modeled after the Knights Templar, the old Catholic military order that is been replaced by the Jesuits, the new military order, who have the Templar cross in their logo. But again, just the date, 155. Christianity teaches about 666. Cladex in its gematria is also 113, like Johns Hopkins University, like coronavirus pandemic, like how it was declared on 11/3, 666 days later. And the translation of Revelation is apocalypse, which doesn't necessarily have to mean destruction. It can also mean a light bulb going off. And the word corona does have gematria 66, like number of the beast, like New Testament. which ends with the 66th book, unless it's a Catholic Bible. Again, Catholic Bible has 145 more chapters in it, like Catholic's 145, like 14/5, like the date this ritual ends, with the Catholic Jesuit leader. But notice, Revelation 121. Coronavirus outbreak 121. Remember, January 21st, that was the headline. January 21st, 2020, the first confirmed case of coronavirus in the world outside of mainland China. And then about a month later, SiriusXM introduced channel 121 as the coronavirus station. But Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, part of those simulations, 121, like Johns Hopkins University 121, like World Health Organization 121. And again, when you understand that Gematria is the language these people work by, and they are working from a plan that's straight from Revelation, an argument I've been making since way before COVID came around. Again, just earlier today, we were reading from the old rough draft of the first book I ever tried to write. And again, Revelation and the Birth of a Nation is what I called that book. So, and I started writing that in 2014. But again, in the Sumerian cipher, which is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, vaccination has that 666, like computer. And now the face of computers, Bill Gates, is the face of vaccines. And it's computers being used to build the databases and the tracking and, just exactly what Bill Gates wrote about on April 30th, how we need a global surveillance to prevent the next pandemic. So, done so many videos like this. Several of them have been taken down. Can't tell you how many videos I've done on 666, talking about the significance of 666 and the ongoing rituals, and Google takes them down for medical misinformation. And again, who's the head of Google right now? Sundar Pichai. 201. You could call it a coincidence, but then you have to explain why Google, whose logo does have a carefully encoded 666 in it, but why they celebrate their birthday on September 27th, which is the day in history the Jesuits were recognized by Rome. And again, September 27th leaves 95 days left in the year. The Jesuits' original purpose was the Counter-Reformation. And I just want to make a point about 666 and the Jesuits' original purpose having a lot to do with 95. And again, the 95 Theses was posted on Halloween, which also equals 95. But Counter-Reformation, 95. A Jesuit created the Bavarian Illuminati, which is 95. And when you write out 666, it's also 95. Like 95 weeks in a day is 666 days. And just so you can see that with your own eyes, 666 days is 95 weeks in a day. The name Fauci has Gematria 95. Run the alphabetic order in reverse. And again, if you write out Halloween, it's also 95. The 95 Theses pinned on October 31st, the day we call Halloween. And when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, old Fauci, he's 95, Jesuit educated. But yeah, just think about it all. Mask, Mark, they're only one letter off. 666, what are the odds it would begin on such a Jesuit day? By the way, if you didn't know, 187 is also a biblical number. The Abrahamic religions are based out of the Torah, which is 187 chapters. And in the same cipher where Society of Jesus is 187, that same cipher, Abrahamic is 187. 187 chapters in the Torah, which make up the Abrahamic religions. Let's see. Again, just the whole Revelation 121 thing. SiriusXM had to make channel 121. You know what's funny? Look at what day they announced it. March 6th. Come on. March 6th? Like 36? Like 666 is the 36th triangular number? So, I mean, that's exactly what I mean. I don't know if I caught that before. I got to check something real quick. Oh, never mind. I do have it. Here, I'll read it right from my book. Hold on. Here's proof I had it before. Page 114 in my own book. You'll also realize it was no accident SiriusXM made channel 121 the coronavirus pandemic channel on March 6, 2020, the 66th day of the year, reminding of us Revelation is the 66th book of the text. And even more, March 6, 2020 was a date with 49 numerology corresponding with the Pythagorean gematria of Revelation, as well as Washington and America. And even further, that date can be expressed as 3/6, similar to 36, where 666 is the 36th triangular number, and 666 is the number of the beast that will either have to be taken or denied by the person who chooses in Revelation in the time of the Great Tribulation. So, yeah, there's a lot of 121s. That's right before the start of chapter 115, HR 6666, an extra 6, contact tracing ID 2020 and the big tech takeover. And again, if you search for this book, you'll find it. Or you just search my name, Zachary K. Hubbard, it'll come up. And remember, you can also download it for free if you want. I made the ebook free to download. You can also buy it free, whatever's better for you. But I guess I did have that. Thank God. Didn't want to miss that. So we'll keep it short and sweet. If you're in Canada, and you never heard of Gematria before, I'd love to hear your comments. I rarely ever, Google gets rid of all the comments now, but I used to always get comments like, oh, I'm new here, this is crazy, thanks for sharing this, I'm going to look into it more. There used to always be comments like that, but now Google scrubs all the comments. It's like they just leave the trollish comments for the most part. It's sad. But anyhow, if you can share this in your own feed, it's likely to meet some new people. And wouldn't it be nice if all of Quebec realized that the old mask mark ritual came through again with another 666. And again, understand you don't have to be religious to take notice of this. I don't identify as Christian. I was raised Lutheran, but I don't identify as Christian. I identify as spiritual. But I am aware that the controllers of this world, they're very much Catholic, Jesuit, Old Testament, and they do work by the old book, like it's a playbook. Like I've said all these years, they use Revelation like it's like they're a football coach and it's their playbook. They use the whole Bible. Again, Genesis 11:9 is where the story of the Tower of Babel ends. 11:9, how the majority of the world wrote 11th of September, the day the world was divided over religion. 2 towers became 0, became 1. New York 666 in Sumerian. All right, anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. I appreciate it very much. Until next time.